Hello, everyone. I hope you are having a terrific, fantastic, peaceful, delightful,
Congratulations.
bountiful day. Today, or right now, I'm going to be talking about something that usually gets the interest of us all. I'm going to be talking about at least 15 facts about Hollywood that you have never known. So like I said a few seconds ago, let's delve right into learning 15 interesting facts about Hollywood that you and me have probably never even known or never even thought of. So let's jump right in. First fact, my good friends, you have to pay. Let me say it again. You have to pay to put your name on the Walk of Fame. Okay, I thought that was a prestigious, almost like holy, almost noble event. I never know that you had to shuffle out money to have your name on that Hollywood Walk of Fame. And it costs about $30,000 at the time that I'm reading about. I never know how much it can cost now. $30,000 at least to have your name placed on that Hollywood Walk of Fame. Next, number 2. Charlie Chaplin made his movie mocking Hitler. So, Charlie Chaplin had the nerve, had the strength, the fortitude, or quote, the balls to mock Adolf Hitler. With his own money, he had to finance this with his own money because Hollywood was afraid or cowardly of losing money if they took a stand. So Hollywood, they were saying, okay, we cannot do this because we may offend the people who are pro-Hitler. We don't know how many there are, but hey, we don't care if you're pro-Hitler or you for Hitler. Hollywood just wants your money. So according to this, Hollywood doesn't take a stand on anything. And if it does take a stand, it's just jumping on the bandwagon, as y'all may have known. If an issue is popular, the population is against it, Hollywood will gladly jump from one building to the other to voice their displeasure or their pleasure. Not because they took the stand, because first, the American population, or the worldwide population, I should say, took a stand about certain things. Number 3, Frank Sinatra has 3 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. 1 for film, 1 for music, and 1 for television. So I wonder, in this case, at least after the first one, he probably had to pay $30,000. For the other 2, did Hollywood kindly put his name on that Hollywood Walk of Fame, or did he have to dish out another 30 to make 60? Did he have to dish out another 30 to make 90? Did Frank Sinatra have to pay $90,000 to have his name on that Hollywood Walk of Fame 3 times? I wonder. But you know how most companies are. Most companies are cheap. They want to take everything from you, my good friends, but they rarely want to give you anything back. Number 4, in the 1920s, the Hollywood sign was lit by thousands of light bulbs. I can understand the technology back then wasn't like the technology today. The Hollywood sign was lit by thousands of light bulbs. And the guy who changed the burnt ones lived in a little cabin near the sign. I wonder if that cabin's still there today. I've never been to Hollywood, but I wonder, do they give you a tour a ground tour of that Hollywood Walk of Fame sign, and I wonder if that man's cabin's still there. I may have to check it out, do my research. You should check it out too, if that little cabin's still there. Because that little cabin is just as important as that Hollywood sign. So I guess during the day he could do whatever he wanted to. He just had to be there at nighttime, and he probably had to get up at a certain time of night to make sure the bulbs were not blown out. Because you know back in 1920s, the technology, as I said, was the same as it is now. The bulbs probably went out every month. He probably was replacing at least 10 bulbs every month. Because I said, the sound was lit up by not hundreds, not 50, thousands of bulbs lit that sign. So imagine how many bulbs he had to change every night. Number 5. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix recorded a $160 million loss on paper because of Hollywood accounting. Warner Brothers effectively made sure that the movie lost money by paying itself a $212 million distribution fee off the top. So, like in regular business, accountants can file up in your business, your parent business, Apple, Microsoft, Hewlett Packard, accountant make mistakes. So the accountant for that Harry Potter movie made a gigantic mistake. Now I'm sure it was not no one accountant. They didn't have no one accountant handling the Harry Potter case. They probably had like 4, 5, 6, or 7. So in that case, all of them probably made the mistake. But it probably was a head accountant. Number 6. One major reason that Hollywood emerged as the center of filmmaking is that early on, most movie-making patents were held by Thomas Edison Company in New Jersey. And filmmakers were sued to stop their production. So Thomas Edison did not want filmmakers to come to New Jersey. So, if Thomas Edison wasn't opposed to filmmakers, would New Jersey have been Tinseltown? To escape this, they began moving out west, which Hollywood is, out west, where enforcement was difficult. So, in the early goings, Thomas Edison was an opponent of filmmakers. He was an opponent of Hollywood. So go figure that. That's a little bit of American trivia, or maybe even worldwide trivia. Thomas Edison did not care for films, and he did not care for Hollywood. Because you know, my good people, back in the 1920s, film was at its infancy stage. It was black and white, and the movies were silent. 7. The kids in the hall got that name from an old Hollywood practice of blaming the young writers that hung out and wrote jokes on the fly in the hallways of live TV variety shows. When a joke bombed, the actor would say, "I got this from the kids in the hall." So, as it states, in the early days of Hollywood, the young people used to hang out in the hall, hang in little groups, and make jokes and crack jokes. I'm sure they was talking about lewd sexual jokes just as well. Probably racial jokes too, because that was in the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, 1950s, etc. They're probably making jokes about women, jokes about blacks, jokes about Chinese, jokes about Mexicans. Every type of joke that you can think of, they probably did it. And I'm sure the most famous joke that he was telling was jokes about your fat mama, who I slept with last night. Number 8. The blinking light atop the Capitol Records Tower spelled out the word Hollywood in Morse code, and has done so since the buildings opened in 1956. So, that's a nice trivia. If you go to Capitol Records, that blinking light atop that building is in Morse code. So there's some good little trivia for us to realize about Hollywood. 9. The legendary Hollywood producer Hal Roach, with a rotten name, would employ someone called Wildy, who was either an insane person or a drunk, to sit in his writer's room and spout crazy ideas whenever they had writer's block. So in this case, this particular famous Hollywood writer, Hal Roach, had his writer's block, so he would get an insane person probably run around the room, act insane, act crazy. He would get some wino or some drunk to come in and just blabber all over the place to help relieve his tension and to free his mind so he can write for his particular television shows, variety shows, movies, etc. Number 10, according to the diary of H.G. Whitley, known as the father of Hollywood, so that's something right there. H.J. Whitley is known as the father of Hollywood. On his honeymoon in 1886, he stood atop of a hill looking out over the valley. Along came a Chinese man in a wagon carrying wood. The man got out of the wagon and bowed, which is an Asian tradition. Asians, they show respect by bowing, not shaking hands. The man got out of the wagon and bowed. The Chinese man asked what he was doing and replied, Hollywood, meaning hauling wood. H.J. Whitley had an epiphany, or a light went off in his head, and decided to name his new town Hollywood. So, from right there, so we see an Asian man in some way is responsible for the name Hollywood, because in his accent he mispronounced hauling wood for Hollywood. I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, that poor Chinese man probably never got a cent of that money. He never probably got a cent of that money from that patented term, which I'm sure is patented, Hollywood. Moving right on, my friends. Number 11, the world famous Hollywood sign came about in 1923. So in 1886, the term by Mr. Whitley, Hollywood, came into existence, but the sign was made in 1923 when a real estate agent called Harry Chandler decided to advertise properties in the locality. It cost him $21,000 to raise the Hollywood sign. That was a lot of money back then, so I'm guessing now it probably would have been like $5 million, $10 million. Because that was 1923 when they did that. To raise the Hollywood land sign that was initially meant to stay on for 18 months only. In 1949, the sign was edited to read just Hollywood. So originally, the sign read Hollywood Land. But being cheap, they took off the land part. The Hollywood sign itself has several interesting and tragic stories, which I may go over someday, associated with it, including that of Broadway star Peg Entwistle, who committed suicide by jumping off the H. Yes, my people, the Hollywood sign has its infamous past. Many people took their lives by jumping off the sign. Many people. I'm sure many actors whose careers took a nosedive ended their careers by jumping off the sign, taking a drug overdose at the sign, or severely injuring themselves at the sign. As it needed frequent renovations and upkeep, the Hollywood Sign Trust was set up in 1995 to look after this legendary landmark. So there's a special fund that was created in 1995 that was made for the upkeep of that sign. So I guess the little guy in the cabin that I read earlier, he must have been doing a poor job, or he passed away and they can never find a sufficient replacement. Number 12. The name Hollywood is often applied to any film or TV production located within Greater Los Angeles, whether or not it is physically located within Hollywood. So Hollywood is its own separate area. That area is called Hollywood, California. For example, from the time it relocated from New York in 1972 until its host retired in, relocated from New York in 1972. So even my mind not going way back there in the past. Relocated in 1972 until its host retired in 1992. The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, who is a legend, was announced as being broadcast from Hollywood, when in truth it originated from a studio facility in Burbank, California. So, just by being in Hollywood, many of them would say, we are in Hollywood, but they could be located in Los Angeles, Watts, etc. Anywhere in Hollywood, anywhere in California where they producing a film, they will probably always say, we made this in Hollywood. But it still was made in California though. Number 13. The first movie to be made in Hollywood was in Old California in 1910. Oh, that's some trivia right there. And the first movie to be made in Hollywood was called Old California, in Old California in 1910. This was a 17-minute short film by legendary director D.W. Griffith. So we got a lot of history by reading this, by going over this. A lot of history has been announced. Who was responsible for the groundbreaking Birth of a Nation? D.W. Griffith. I'll never forget that name. He the one who made Birth of a Nation. 14. The annual Academy, or Oscars, were first held in 1929 at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel. This fairly cozy banquet was attended by only a mere 270 people. Only 15 different awards were presented on that night. However, in true Hollywood fashion, even back then, there was a after party, but we got some history. The first Oscars was held in 1929. During that first Oscar, only 270 people attended. And there were only 15 awards at that time. But they still had that after party where they got drunk, probably had sexual escapades, and whatever. You can think of the rest. I'm not going to contaminate your mind. Last but not least, my good people, number 15. In 1904, the voters of Hollywood decided by a majority of 113 to 96 to banish the sale of alcohol in the town, except for medicinal purposes. But we know now alcohol is legal there, and it has been for many, many decades. Not just alcohol, marijuana. So I guess right now somewhere in good old Hollywood, a good host of people laid back and smoking their marijuana and drinking their Jack Daniels. Thank you for visiting. If you like the content I presented, feel free to give me a thumbs up. If you would like to subscribe to hear about additional things that I find interesting, I may talk about anything on this channel. Anything that I find interesting, I will talk about on this channel. Thank you, my good people. Have a wonderful, peace, enjoyable day or evening, wherever you are on this sweet, blue, green, brown planet called Earth. Oh, that was 20 minutes.